All right, DJ, let's welcome everybody back to the ward, because it's that time again. Rock these halls, shake and rattle the asylum.
In the halls where the whispers crawl, where the broken shadows stain the wall, a heavy step echoes through the deadened air. The warden walks, and terror follows everywhere. Keys like iron tombstones ring, a lullaby no saint soul should sing. He knows each scream, each name, each plea, for none escape his registry. Warden of the asylum, master of the locked and lost. He binds the night with fear and frost, keeper of the secrets no one dares recall. Warden of the asylum, ruler of the endless behind his mask, the darkness stares, cold as the thoughts no mind should bear. His coat drags like a mourning shroud, a ghost made flesh, a silence loud. He turns the key and worlds collapse, sanity breaks in his iron grasp. The lights flicker when he draws near, even the walls remember fear. Warden of the asylum, master of the locked and lost. He binds the night with fear and frost, keeper of the secrets no one dares recall. Warden of the asylum, ruler of the endless hall. Hear the scraping chains, a promise not a threat. Every sin, every pain, he collects each debt. No hope, no dawn, no calm within. Only the warden and the weight of every sin. Warden of the asylum, when nightmares learn to crawl, where broken souls obey his call, when the last light fades and the lost ones fall, he stands unending, king of the iron hall. King of the iron hall.
Okay, I said that we wouldn't be back here again. Well, that was kind of a lie, guys. Um, I was hoping not to be back here, but there's a topic I want to cover today. It's it's a topic that you know we should probably talk about because in reality, guys, we are all gamers, are we not? And Gaming is changing again, but this time it's not just better graphics, it's not just faster load times, it's how games are made, how they're played, who controls them, who actually benefits from them. Every year we hear the same buzzwords: next gen, revolutionary, game changing. Today we're cutting through the noise. This episode isn't about hype, it's about what actually is shaping the future of gaming, what's quietly dying, and what players and creators need to prepare for now. I did have someone on the podcast to answer questions. I did have someone answer some questions. We did some hot takes. Uh, I will read those off as we finish up a section of the podcast, a segment. Um, Games are no longer games, they're ecosystems. We've moved from buy the game, beat the game, to live inside the game. Battle passes, seasonal content, live service updates. This isn't going away. But here's the catch: live service doesn't mean live forever. We're already seeing games shutting down after 2 to 3 years, players losing access to paid content, studios chasing engagement instead of fun. The future? Smaller teams, longer lifespans, but only for games that respect player time. The hot take on this. The hot take that me and a friend of mine did, and we talked about this extensively through DMs. Most next gen games are aren't actually next gen, they're last gen games with better lighting and longer loading screens. And my buddy said, hard to agree. Ray tracing isn't innovation if the gameplay loop hasn't changed since 2015. I retorted with, if your game still relies on fetch quest and checklist maps, I don't care how realistic the puddles look. My buddy, graphics age, good mechanics don't. Well, you know, we agree on certain things and we don't, okay? Um, let's shift here. So, live service. I hate these type of games. I really do. Battle pass, seasonal content. Okay, seasonal content, I understand. Battle passes, I understand. It's when the battle passes become pay for pay for the premium so that you can get this, and this. Um, and then you see the game shut down 2, 3 years later. The servers. Studios are chasing more engagement than they are instead of fun, and players are losing access to paid content. I've seen this. I've experienced this. Um, when you actively sit there and you pay for content, Ring, you're not wrong. I'm sick of the Skyrim style re-releases myself. Let's throw in some ray tracing and people will rebuy it if we call it a remaster. Um, I agree with remastering certain games, okay? But what I don't agree with is you're not really remastering shit. You say updated graphics. I call bullshit. Um, I've seen a few of these games. And the Skyrim re release style is not the way to go. I will tell you that now. Skyrim re release is not the way to go. Skyrim needs to die. You're not wrong. Morrowind was a good game. Where's that remaster? But Skyrim has literally become, if you don't play the newest one, even if you do, I hate to say it, it's become a thing of, you know, Skyrim is more modded now. It's not the same game. Mods are being released for the newer version, for the so called remaster. And if you're going to remaster a game, you need to actually update the graphics. Don't falsely advertise that you're updating graphics when you're not. And as far as players losing access to paid content, what that means is basically whenever the servers shut down, there's there's no actual way for you to access any of the paid content after server shutdown. Because most of the time, once the server shuts down, you can't even play the game. Or they spark in an online mode, an offline mode finally. Uh, the the hot take on this is live service games aren't ruining gaming. Bad live service games are. Yep. Diablo 2 was a true remaster. Uh, and I'm the one who said live service gamings aren't ruining gaming. They're it's the bad ones. It's the bad live service games that are. My buddy, who plays games on a regular, said, yeah, players don't hate seasons, they hate chores. If your progression feels like a second job, you didn't build engagement, you built obligation. And my buddy said, and gamers are clocking out early now. Another hot take that we had between each other. My here was my hot take. If your game needs streamers to survive, it's already dying. My buddy said, facts. Streamers can amplify a good game, but they can't fix a bad one. The moment the drops end, the player base evaporates. And my buddy said, that's not community, that's bribery. Again, is he wrong? I don't think so. I don't think he's wrong in the least. um, so I have this question, and I pose this to anyone who's a gamer. What is a game that deserves a remaster? A true remaster, similar to Diablo 2. What is a game that deserves a true remaster? Not this, oh, we're going to update the graphics, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, possibly change the controls on you. What is a game that deserves a true remaster? I think I know Ren's answer. Morrowind. Um, to me, give me a remaster of Warcraft 2, Tides of Darkness. Give me that remaster. Give me Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness remastered with the absolute graphics that it had. Give me Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness. Give give Ren Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 from PC and PS1 along with Morrowind. Give Ren his Star Wars Battlefront. Leave the graphics alone, but give it its rightful remaster, a true one. So, my next hot take was AAA Studios. Yep, Driver 1 and Driver 2. I remember those games from PlayStation 1. My hot take on something was AAA Studios don't trust their players anymore. Which, with being honest, they don't. My buddy retorted, they design everything to be safe, predictable, and focus tested to death. I said, which is wild because gamers reward risk way more than the sameness. And my buddy said, indie devs take risks, AAA devs take notes. He's not wrong. At what point have AAA devs ever taken a risk? What AAA developer has ever taken a risk? Indie devs take more risks than AAA. Yeah, certain streamers do state that everything needs a battle pass and competitive modes. Everything doesn't need a battle pass. Everything doesn't need a competitive mode. Everything needs to be proper in a game. I hate to say it, but battle passes are basically extra content that they're just not willing to give away for free. Competitive modes take the life out of the game because not everyone wants to be competitive. Um, that's what Ren's basically saying is certain streamers are stating that everything needs battle passes and competitives. I don't believe in it. Um, Ren, I think we all miss complete games and that we don't mind a good expansion. It's when you release a shit expansion and you call it good. So, before we move on to the next segment, I wanted to go with this hot take. Always online single player games are straight up anti consumer. My buddy said if the server shut down and my game disappears, I never owned it. I retorted with, that's not the future. That's renting entertainment with extra steps. Which he retorted, ownership is coming back into conversation whether publishers like it or not. If I pay for a game and it's a single player game and you shut down my servers, you better give me a refund. That's all I'm saying. Is you better give me a refund. If you shut down my single player game because it's always online and I can't play it anymore, I want a refund. I want my refund. Let's move on to segment two. AI isn't replacing game developers, but it is changing how games are built. We're seeing AI used for NPC behavior, dialogue generation, procedural worlds, bug testing, animation support. The good future, smarter NPCs, more reactive worlds, less repetitive design. The bad future, soulless content, overgenerated filler, loss of human creativity. The difference won't be the tech, it'll be who uses it responsibly. Responsi- responsibly. Yep. Always online is killing single player. It's murdering it. It's cold blooded murder at this point. Oh, we can't release an offline version because then we can't update it. Yeah, you can. Send out a patch. You dumb bitch. And to the always online topic, Donzo, players are tired. Always online requirements, mandatory launchers, account linking for single player games. Gamers are pushing back and studios are noticing. The future trend, which is our hopes, offline friendly modes, crossplay without forced ecosystems, and ownership conversations coming back into focus. Convenience matters, but control matters more. The death of always online. We wish for it. All of us wish for it. We want a good game that we can take and go to a friend's house and play. Or I remember that too, strangely enough, Ren. Having to find that website just to update your game, just to patch it. And they could make a link basically to their server to check for a patch to maintain the single player offline. They choose not to. They choose to be lazy. They choose to go, well, hell, I remember using a USB stick to update one of my games one time. Don't get me started. I remember those days. You don't have offline games anymore. There's very few of them. The games that are offline, I remember having a friend of mine, Ren. He used the same place in the early 2000s. He used FileFront to update games just so that he could play. That was the real struggle back then. Finding a place that had your update that you needed. But offline fr- offline friendly modes would be nice. Crossplay without forced ecosystems would be nice. Um, indie games are no longer small. Indie studios are shaping the future more than AAA right now. Why? Faster iteration, risk taking, strong creative identity. You're not wrong. LAN parties were fun. Hey, Ren, Showing my age here. You remember the StarCraft LAN parties? The StarCraft 1 LAN parties that you used to have with your friends? Some of the most influential mechanics and genres of the last decade have come from teams under 20 people. The future isn't AAA versus indie, it's corporate safe versus creatively brave, and players can tell the difference. Hell, when I was going to college, we used to hold a StarCraft LAN party in the inside the college cafeteria. We would sit there between classes and play StarCraft until time to go to the next class. And like you said, pizza, Mountain Dew, and Surge. Streaming creators and game design. Games are now built with viewers in mind. Streamer modes, chat integration, drop systems, spectator first mechanics. This is powerful but dangerous. When games prioritize watchability over playability, they burn out fast. The future winners will be games that respect creators and don't rely on them to survive. A good game grows with creators, not through them. That is so true. That is so true. Uh, you don't need creators to make a game successful. A good game will be successful with the creator. A good game doesn't rely on the creator to keep it alive. So, yeah, I do too. I like the concept of streamer mode for games, especially the ones that have music that fall under DMCA. But we're talking about making a game rely on the creators. When a game relies on creators, it dies early. It really does. A game dies early when it has to rely on content creators because a good game will thrive without them, and creators can't fix a bad one. But virtual reality isn't dead, it's just early. The hype cycle hurt it. Too expensive. You're not wrong, Ren. Let the game fail. The only time that you're for that is if the game is an early access. Early access means that people have limited access to it. It's going to have flaws or a closed beta. True. But the hype cycle hurt VR. It was too expensive. It was too isolated. It was too gimmicky. But the future of VR isn't massive headsets. It's lighter hardware, better accessibility, mixed reality, social integration. It'll creep forward quietly and instead of exploding overnight. What should gamers prepare for? Here's the honest way to Here's the honest takeaway from this. The future of gaming will reward players who support studios that respect them. Stop chasing hype blindly. Value time, not just content volume. And creators who build community, not dependency. Diversify platforms. Stay adaptable. Trends will change. Good design principles won't. The future of gaming isn't just tech, it's choices. What we buy, what we support, what we tolerate. Oh, I would so go with it. If gamers and creators stay informed, the future can be better, not just bigger. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who still thinks next gen graphics are the whole story. Until then, play smart, support good devs, and don't let hype decide for you. So you're not wrong, Donzo. And Ren holodeck tech, give me holodeck tech, give me holodeck tech right now. Give it to me. Give me. So here's a nuclear hot take. Here's a true nuclear hot take. Gaming doesn't need more content. It needs better endings. To that, my buddy said, and I quote, "Oof, say it louder." I said, "Let games end. Let stories finish." My buddy said, "Closure is underrated. Let gamers experience a good story." Now, do I believe that we are going to get better gaming in 2026? Do I believe that we are going to get better gaming? The answer to that is no. We are going to get lazy gaming. We are going to get we're going to become more indie sided. Gamers are going to stop playing AAA games. They're going to start playing um they're going to start playing the indie games. I think the indie games with their creative mindset are going to become better. I think that in a sense a lot of the bigger developers are going to have to start matching what indie developers are doing. You can't sit there and just bumblefuck around. So I have a list here. Pardon me for pulling this up. I have a list. Here are all the games coming out in January of this year. On January 9th, we get Spear for the Xbox. On January 12th, we get Quarantine Zone The Last Check for PC. On January 14th, we get Street Dog BMX for PC. January 15th, The Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon for PS5, PS4, Switch 2, and Switch, along with PC. Broken Lore Unfollowed on the 16th for PS5 and PC. The only game on here that I see that I'm even remotely interested in is Vein 2, Code Vein 2. And then in February, Neo 3 comes out on February 6th. Unemployment Simulator 2018 comes out on PC on February 5th. I don't see a single game that's coming out that I would be interested in, except for Neo. Yeah, PS4 is getting a new game. It's getting several. So I'm going to say this. Neo 3 is going to be a PS5 exclusive. Um, Resident Evil Requiem is coming out on February 27th. After that, there's nothing. There's a lot of undated games that they're looking at that don't have release dates yet. Um, Fable Fable has a undated is undated. Fable is coming out on the Xbox S and X along with the PC. It's undated, but Fable is coming. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is coming to the Switch too. Um, it's not got a release date, but yes, Fire Emblem is coming out with a new game. Warhammer Survivors, Ren, for PC. Warhammer Survivors. Outside of the ones that I mentioned, there aren't many that I'm seeing here that are going to catch my interest. Yep. Have a good night, Dunzo. But guys, I hate to say it. Gaming in 2026 is only going to get worse. They got to figure stuff out. They really do. But guys, I'm going to call the podcast here. Um, I hope you guys have listened, and I want your thoughts. If you're listening on Spotify, maybe give your thoughts on it. If you're listening on YouTube, put in the comments what game you would like to see have a remaster. But until next time, guys, I love each and every one of you, and I'm going to shut these doors, and hopefully we don't come back here for a while. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.